Does anyone remember a YouTuber by the name of Chris Wayne? What a silly question. At least if you were on YouTube back in 2016 or so. Chris Wayne was sort of considered to be a nicer, more genuine version of YouTubers at the time, like Rice Gum or the Paul Brothers, even being a part of his own Team 10 and Vlog Squad style group known as the Vloggers Union, albeit this one was slightly lesser known. Chris would post all sorts of content, like Let's Plays and story times, and even true crime on occasion. He was a jack of all trades in that regard, but he would mostly specialize in that generic daily vlog type of content. But nobody talks about him anymore, at least not like that. He's sort of been reduced down to one of those YouTube channels people bring up to incite fear or disturbance. Something more akin to Marina Joyce or Kate Yup. Except, knowing what I know now, none of the odd occurrences in his videos leading up to his infamous suicide livestream could have possibly been staged. For those unaware, Chris Wayne unfortunately passed away on the evening of August 15th of 2016 in a live stream where he committed suicide by slashing his wrists vertically before slicing at his own throat. He was 17 years old at the time of his death, just 1 year off from legal adulthood. It was a sad, horrifying loss for the YouTube community. Even with the loud minority of people mocking his death and re-uploading the infamous stream on various gore sites. Chris had a whole future ahead of him, a promising career, and yet he was in such deep pain, such sorrow, that he decided to end his life in one of the most painful, goriest ways possible. But why? Well, Chris had a girlfriend. Her name was Lisa Armando, and she appeared in quite a lot of his videos. Looking back now, a lot of the typical couple dynamics present within his videos on his channel featuring her seemed forced. Sure, it was subtle enough, not able to be noticed by the naked eye. But once you start looking for it, you can't unsee it. And in the earlier videos near the start of Chris joining the Vloggers Union, things were more natural, albeit they just seemed so off. Like Lisa was somehow a puppeteer, a ghostwriter for everything that happened in those videos. That dynamic would last for a good while, until one day, a switch seemingly flipped, and Lisa started appearing less, and in the videos she did show up in, Chris had this constant undertone of pure fear and uncomfortability in his demeanor around her. In one video I remember from this period of time, Chris was doing a shopping vlog with Lisa, and everything appeared to be completely normal on the surface level. Chris and Lisa went shopping. Some shenanigans ensued. They had their couple moments. Everything seemed completely, utterly, entirely normal. But if you look beyond that surface level, you begin to notice a few things. One obvious example being that aforementioned fearful demeanor around Lisa that was present throughout a good 90% of the video. Lisa would sometimes get a bit too close to Chris, causing him to back away from her. Or Lisa would make a remark similar to, "And I don't get a kiss?" And Chris would cringe up, sometimes giving her one in an extremely uncomfortable manner. Knowing what I know now, I can see why. I can see exactly why. And he had every single right to feel that way. Despite the seemingly obvious, uncomfortable dynamic between what seemed to be the essential mascots for the Vloggers Union and Lisa's seemingly never-ending personal spats between other creators, falsely flagging videos who slander her good name, petty drama that could have been resolved in private, that kind of thing. They were a fairly successful bunch. They were even supposed to have their own series of mobile games created by Live Laugh Games, but that got canned shortly after Chris's death. In fact, none of them were even made, except for Chris's game. The game for Chris was a unique case, at least according to the various articles that haven't been completely buried by Google that even vaguely mentioned Chris. Supposedly, Chris was supposed to have a sort of simulation game meant to replicate what it was like being a YouTuber. Something similar in concept to PewDiePie's Tuber Simulator. But oddly enough, Chris wanted to work on his game completely and entirely alone. Chris was the sole programmer, writer, everything of his game, and Live Laugh Games simply acted as the publisher. According to Chris, he wanted to make this game as accurate as possible, a true and completely honest representation of what being a YouTuber was like. Live Laugh Games were hesitant to let Chris do this, as you can probably guess, but he insisted so much that eventually they caved in and agreed, albeit they waited for that game with bated breath. One day, however, Chris sent in the game just a few days before his infamous suicide stream. Live Laugh Games absolutely refused to publish the game, not just because they wanted to respect him, their words, not mine, you'll see how those differ later on, don't you worry, but also because the contents of it were deeply disturbing. Not even an M rating or anything equivalent would save the game from inevitably receiving the ban hammer on all major mobile gaming stores. The then CEO of Live Laugh Games, when asked about it in the more recent articles, says that even to this day, that game has never truly left his mind. It hasn't left mine either, to be honest with you. I was honestly debating on whether or not I should even post about this, about the ethics of it all. But I feel like this is a story that deserves to be shared. What he went through, what is present within the game, is something many people unfortunately go through. And today, something like this is dumbed down to mere jokes and memes. But it affects people. It affected Chris. My memory upon first finding the files to this game are hazy. I was on autopilot for most of the day, just doom scrolling on the internet until I deemed myself too tired to function and went straight to sleep. But somehow, I ended up on the Internet Archive, and I guess some disgruntled Live Laugh Games employee or absolute god-tier lost media enthusiast must have been on the site that day, because I happened to stumble upon a file by the name of Chris Wayne's YouTube Simulator 2016.apk. I didn't believe it at first. There's no way, right? Was this a fake? I thought it was a fake at first. Some poor fucked up attempt at trolling. But honestly, I wish it was. I looked at the app icon. It was a pixelated version of the YouTube logo, but instead of there being the play button, it was a play and pause button, sort of, mixed together, if that made any sense. There was one screenshot, the one attached to this post, and the only screenshot I feel okay with sharing. The description was just this phrase.
Because I want to reveal the truth.
I don't know what overcame me. Maybe it was morbid curiosity. maybe it was fate. Who knows? But I downloaded that file onto my computer, opening up BlueStacks as I waited for the download to finish. As soon as it did, I opened it up almost instantly, filled with some form of dreaded curiosity. There was a loading screen for a bit, before a cartoon illustration of none other than Chris himself faded into view. Upbeat music, presumably from either a pre-existing game or a royalty-free website, playing as buttons to start a new game, continue from the previous file, go to the options, or go to either an in-game store or the App Store. This button just said Store, and I wasn't able to press it for reasons that will be explained shortly. Slid into view. All the buttons I pressed just made the game glitch out like crazy, crashing the game and even my computer when I tried to press continue. That was frustrating. But anyway, the only button that worked was the new game one, and so I clicked that. The game opened up with a visual novel style segment where Chris is about to record a new vlog for the day before complaining about his workload and how editing is his absolute least favorite part of the vlogging process. Suddenly, Chris gets an idea. Chris directly addresses the player, asking them if they want to become his video editor so he doesn't have to slave away at his desk as he edits. Two options appear here, a simple yes or no. Pressing no just makes Chris continue begging the player before making the options reappear. A typical illusion of choice scenario. Pressing yes, however, leads to Chris jumping in excitement, thanking the player about 1,000,000 times as tears of joy well up in his eyes. Chris calms down for a bit, before asking something along the lines of,
Hey, while we're at it, want to help me pick out a fit for my vlog? I kinda don't know what to wear.
After that line, the scene immediately transitions to a dress-up game style segment, and it was exactly what you'd expect it to be. However, this section would also be the start of the oddities present within this game. There was a pop-up at the start with the line, "Now do your best to help him look his best." And for about a split second after clicking it, all of the text disappeared from the box, save for the words, "Help him," before the box and the remaining text disappeared. The entire dress-up section was completely normal. If you ever played those old Flash dress-up games, it was exactly like that. You could pick between various trendy outfits of the time, with a few references to old movies or internet culture thrown in there. You could make him cosplay Hatsune Miku if you really wanted to. I'll admit, I had a lot of fun playing this part, even when the game got more interesting. After you finish putting together the outfit, a victory screen of sorts shows up, rating your outfit based on how cool it is. I think I got 80% or something. That being said, there were two buttons. An option to screenshot the outfit, or an option to proceed to the next section of the game. I was kinda scared to click the option to take a screenshot, wondering if that same crashing glitch was gonna happen. But still, I clicked it. A flash of white lagging as it flashed across my screen. In between flashes, however, I swear to God, the background became some sluggish deformity of black and red. Like the background temporarily changed into a heavily saturated photo of someone's insides. All while Chris was still smiling at me in that cartoony art style. I was relatively sleep deprived while playing this, so I'm not sure if it was just my mind playing tricks on me to scare me into closing the game and sleeping or something, but that's what I saw. Thankfully, The game didn't crash after that. Sighing a relieved breath, I clicked on the button to continue, the screen fading to black for a few seconds before going into another VN segment, but not before flashing some text, italicized in Times New Roman, in a white font. I couldn't read what it said at first, but looking into the files after playing the game in its entirety, this is what it said.
I cry for help, but nobody listens. Obvious signs falling on deaf ears, while the hearing gets silenced for their truths. You want to see me suffer? You'll see me suffer.
4:49 a.m. During the second VN segment, Chris's sprite changes to one depicting himself as happy, waving his hands as he compliments the outfit you put him in. After that, some more dialogue is had, referencing memes from the time period, such as Shrek and We Are Number One, in a cringy yet endearing way. After that, he tells you it's time to record his vlog, and that you'll be editing said vlog after he's done. One fade in, fade out later, you're at the video editing portion of the cycle. In this section was another tutorial on what you had to do. The layout was akin to a video editing software like Premiere Pro, albeit more simplified as to better fit the simple gameplay. There were various clips from Chris's vlog, and you had to arrange in the right order, like a puzzle. Clicking OK on the pop-up, it's clear that the vlog you're editing for this segment was a storytime vlog. The story being told was from when Chris was still in school, specifically when he was a high school freshman and just starting out. Chris told the story of how some neighborhood jerks who regularly teased Chris were weirdly persistent on Chris trying weed, with him denying their offer multiple times. Annoyed by this, Chris started taking the long way home just to get those guys to leave him alone. One day, however, a sophomore acquaintance from his school suddenly started giving out brownies to people. Chris remarks how he probably should have seen what was coming, considering that it was April 20th. The obvious happens. Chris's parents get pissed at him, thinking he came home high on purpose, and he finds out that it was all orchestrated by the previously mentioned neighborhood jerks. A funny story, though it's odd to include something so heavily focused on weed in something that's supposed to be for all ages. But that's the lightest subject this game will throw at you. After that section, yet another VN segment starts. Chris expresses excitement over the video you edited for him, thanking you about 1,000,000 times over. He then tells you that he's tired before the screen fades to black, marking the end of the first cycle. However, there's something weird in between the cycles. What follows is a phone call between Chris and Lisa. The call is cold, uncomfortable. I could feel my throat tightening as I listened to it. What follows is a paraphrased recount of the call.
Hello?
Hey, Lisa.
Awkward silence. The sounds of a car door closing being heard clearly, making it easy to assume it came from Chris's side of the call.
Hello? Rude much? I'm talking to you.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Sorry, I've just been, out of it lately.
Is there ever a time where you're in it?
Good point. Good point.
Right. So, any new video ideas?
I actually have a, short skit thing I really want to do. Specifically, something in tribute to, Stephen Carl Stephenson, the guy from Lazytown.
Never heard of him.
Oh, well, he's dealing with a lot right now. A lot, meaning, well, cancer.
Uh-huh.
Well, Lazytown is a popular, meme right now. Specifically that one song, you know. We are number one.
Silence.
I just think it would be nice to make something for him, you know? It'll make some people laugh. I could use my fame for good so people can donate. It's topical. It's relevant.
More silence.
Nobody does skits anymore, Chris. That's something you do when you're starting your channel in 2010.
Oh,
Look, you can do it. It's your channel. It's just not gonna get any views, you know? Your viewers don't want that. The algorithm won't promote it. Can't you just shout him out at the end of your vlog tomorrow or something?
Lisa, he has cancer. I can't treat a cancer patient like a sticker I can just tack onto the video so I can feel better or something. He deserves better. He's a good guy, Lisa. Please.
You don't know him. Look, he's all the way in Iceland. At least that's what Google says. Who cares?
More awkward silence.
Exactly. No one's gonna watch this shit. Because nobody wants it. It's old news, Chris. A good YouTuber always gives the audience exactly what they want. You know that, right? Of course you do. Everyone does. Everyone with a brain, at least. Just my opinion, though.
Sorry.
Can't wait for that vlog tomorrow, huh?
No, I can't.
Me too! Ah, it's gonna be so much fun. We haven't vlogged together in ages.
Oh, really? I haven't noticed.
Silence.
Ah, well, I should get going. Chad McDude's having another influencer party soon, and I have to finish my makeup. You wanna come?
Oh, no thanks. I got a video to edit.
Lisa scoffs.
Suit yourself. Love you.
Chris just hangs up the call. After that, the game glitches for a moment, before transitioning to the next visual novel segment. However, unlike the previous opening visual novel segment, Chris looked tired, more drained. He would proceed to tell the player that he doesn't want to do this vlog, skip a day in his daily upload schedule for once. As the rambling went on, he got progressively more nervous, almost incoherent, even with the dialogue box providing captions. Eventually, he stopped, saying that he has to do it. He has to stick to his schedule no matter what. Fade out of this section, and into the second dress-up section. The second dress-up section appeared normal, at least for the first couple of minutes or so. Suddenly, though, a barrage of Apple notification sounds played, stopping the music in the background, before the dress-up UI completely disappeared, leaving only Chris's sprite. Suddenly, a shit ton of text messages from Lisa appeared, represented by Apple text messages with bits of white artifacting surrounding them.
Where the fuck are you, Chris? I swear to God, get out of the fucking bathroom! It was a joke. God, my bad for underestimating how much you hate fish. Jesus fucking Christ. I know what you do in there. There's no need to hide it. You already know I want you to do it. Why do you keep hiding it? Answer my fucking texts.
There was a pause in between the messages. It should also be noted that, starting from the second to last message, what sounded like someone repeatedly vomiting over and over began fading into hearing capacity.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
You better be. Come on, get out.
I'm sorry.
Stop fucking saying that!
I'll get out in a second. I'm sorry. I love you.
Suddenly, all the messages disappeared, as the vomiting sound was at the maximum volume the game engine this was made on could allow. The last second of it looping through the 2 seconds that the final message appeared.
Please don't hurt me.
After that, the dress-up UI came back, with everything being normal, except for the now low-quality pitched down and reversed music. I continued with the dress-up section, albeit feeling progressively more uneasy as white Times New Roman text started popping up in front of Chris's sprite, presumably being Chris's attempt at communicating with the player.
Please don't make me record. You read those messages, right? She's going to hurt me. She's going to hurt me in ways you don't even want to know or begin to comprehend. The very sight of her just makes me sick. She's going to hurt me. She's going to hurt me. She's going to hurt me.
And so on. Each repetition of the previously mentioned phrase made me practically start speedrunning this segment. I wanted to listen to him. I truly did. If it weren't for my own godforsaken curiosity, I would have closed BlueStacks and let the file rot forever on my computer as the disturbing, disgusting little secret it was meant to be. Hesitantly, I clicked on the button to finish the outfit, the victory sound effect being distorted. The silence after clicking it was loud. I know it might sound ridiculous, but I felt terrible for him. I felt like I just sent an innocent person off to be hanged, and yet I trudged on, clicking the next button as the next scene faded in. Chris's sprite looked mortified, his eyes red and puffy from crying. The text box displayed ellipses as far as the eye could see. There was no music, just that same deafening silence from before. Suddenly, he spoke.
I have to record.
The scene faded into the next section immediately after that. The vlog editing section. The vlog being edited was that same shopping vlog with Lisa I described earlier, beat for beat. In the corner of the editor, however, that same white text from the dress-up section returned, with Chris having more to say to the player.
There's so much more that happened here. So much more I couldn't record. So much I cut out. You're lucky you're just getting the sanitized version. Do you ever think it's odd how me and her met? It was perfect timing. I wanted out from my shitty parents. Those people who shat on all of my dreams in the name of academics. She provided an out that pissed them off. I wanted to piss them off. And now I'm stuck in an objectively worse situation.
The text disappeared for a second.
It feels wrong saying that in writing, even if it is the objective truth. Well, if you aren't her anyway. Let's put it this way. She's been forcing me to do multiple things without my consent or even knowledge at times, including what you're thinking of. I'm 17. She's 25. Figure it out yourself.
After that, the text stopped, and my heart dropped as I realized just exactly what he was implying. I didn't throw up or anything, but I felt a nauseous dread throughout the rest of my playthrough because of that. I continued editing, pressing the button to be done. The music glitching right after I pressed it. There was no ending VN segment. Just a drawn picture of Chris sitting on his bed in the middle of the night. Various faded self-harm scars visible all across his body. He looked mortified, and that same look of he just finished crying came back. Once again, he started speaking. Crickets chirping as a dark, ambient track started playing.
I just need to be saved. That's all I've been wanting for the past few years. But I'm stuck. I'm trapped in an abusive situation that I could have left at any time. But my fate was sealed when I ran away and got in her car. This is all my fault. It's my fault I'm suffering. But nobody wants to suffer. My channel is all I have. Making videos is my escape and my torture. My most healthy coping mechanism. Yet my most egregious form of emotional self-harm. I deserve to suffer. It's my punishment for being alive. And yet, I cry for help. I cry and I wail, leaving hints in my videos and social media posts. Yet, nobody listens. I have millions of subscribers, but none of them are listening. I'm screaming my lungs out to a crowd of people, but there's a soundproof glass pane preventing anyone from listening. The only way to make them care is if I start ripping my guts out in front of them. If I start smearing my blood and waste against the pane, then they'll finally figure out what's wrong. If I bleed out and die, then they'll finally start caring.
He paused for a few seconds, the music and cricket sounds getting progressively louder before abruptly stopping.
I know what I have to do.
Following that, the game cuts straight to the third and final dress-up segment. The music was distorted to hell and back, bearing a vague resemblance to the blaring sounds of out-of-tune trumpets, rather than the usual cheery chiptune music of the previous two dress-up segments. Chris's sprite was faceless now, and all of the clothing donned pixelated splatters of dried-up blood, which seemed to centralize in the crotch and chest areas. Nothing else happened during the segment. No messages or anything. Just a flash dress-up game in a horrifying, gory, flesh-like setting. Something more akin to Saya no Uta, to anyone familiar with that game. I finished the dress-up section, and there was no sound, not even the victory sound. Just the continue button. And so, I pressed it, seeing as there was nothing else I could do. The game faded into its last visual novel section. In contrast to Chris's sprite just facing the left of the screen like it had been throughout the entire game. This time, his sprite was directly facing the player, his face covering up a good portion of the screen. Suddenly, what appeared to be a stock sound effect of a woman screaming as multiple stab wound sound effects began fading in as multiple graphic, vomit-inducing images of all Chris has done to himself began flashing on screen. Fresh self-harm all over his body, vomit and blood-covered clothing, multiple empty bottles of beer and vodka, cocaine and heroin being injected into his veins, and more disgusting images that I won't even begin to describe flashed. It was enough to make me throw up in my mouth, releasing the bile I've been holding down all this time. All throughout this nightmare sequence, Chris's sprite got bloodier, a twisted smile of relief and insanity forming as tears started welling up in his eyes. I couldn't see the whole process though, as I had closed my eyes after vomiting, begging God to make the sequence end earlier. Suddenly, the sound effect came to an abrupt stop, and I opened my eyes, hoping that was the end of the sequence. Thankfully, I was right, as Chris's face was now completely covering the screen, leaving only one dialogue box on screen.
This is what you've done to me.
My hands were shaking. I didn't want to continue. I wanted to close the game, delete the file, and go the rest of my life gaslighting myself into believing this was all some twisted fever dream. But I was in too deep. I had to see what came next. I clicked, and surprisingly enough, there was another vlog editing segment. Except, this time, the interface of the software was blood red, its textures bearing a striking resemblance to raw meat, absolutely covered in maggots and black tar. The video being edited was of Chris brutally killing Lisa, stabbing her to death multiple times with an already bloody-looking box cutter. Gone was the previously cheery music. Gone was any music at all. It was entirely replaced with gross, wet, squishing sounds, accompanied by what sounded like a real-life mental breakdown of Chris's, complete with the sounds of sobbing and screaming. White Times New Roman font appeared all across the right half of the screen, repeating the phrase, "This is what you've done to me," over and over. After all of that, there was one final section, but this time, it was a rather choppy-looking yet disturbingly detailed animation. Chris looked down at Lisa's now-dead body, blood everywhere in his room, as he began shaking and hyperventilating, realizing the sheer amount of damage he had caused. Her blood and organs were everywhere, painting the stark white room in a dreaded crimson. It looked like the horrific love child of a slasher flick, and a shitty My Little Pony gore animation from the early 2010s. Chris started crying, but before he could get to sobbing, he reached for an off-screen gun. Chris put the barrel of the gun in his mouth, before blowing his brains out. Upon this scene happening, the game finally glitched out, crashing the game, leaving one final error message in its wake.
There's nothing left for me.
I went back on Internet Archive, desperately trying to find some sort of explanation as to what the fuck I just played. I wanted this to be some sort of sick, twisted, fucked up fan game that some greasy Live League obsessed motherfucker made for pure shock value. But I couldn't find it. Searching up the game by name didn't yield any results on the site. Looking through my history didn't help either. All it did was show me a 404 error page. I guess the uploader must have deleted it. Had a change of heart or something. Since the internet wasn't helping me figure out what was going on, I checked the files of the game, and that confirmed without a doubt that this was, indeed, created by Chris himself. There were thousands of screenshots of texts between Chris and Lisa, showing more of her abuse than even the game could show, with her threatening physical abuse and SA and other fucking vile things against Chris for the littlest of things. She even encouraged him to kill himself on multiple occasions. This was accompanied by various phone calls and voicemails of more of the same. There were even screen recordings of Chris going through his message history with Lisa, showing that he wasn't faking anything, his deep, panicked breathing being heard in the background of all of it. I was shocked. I was disgusted. I felt sick to my fucking stomach the more I read. I sent all of this to an FBI tip line, since apparently the fuckers at Live Laugh Games were too worried about money or whatever to do it themselves. Some fucking company they are. Prioritizing funds over an abused victim's extremely fucking obvious cry for help. It was the best I could do. The guilt would have eaten me alive if I didn't do anything with what was in the files of the game. I'm not going to be sharing the game for obvious reasons. I don't want to expose anyone to the gross shit present within the game. I don't know how to end this. I truly don't. I feel guilty writing this, but I know I would feel even more guilty if I didn't say anything about what I found. Lisa Armando, if you're reading this, I hate you with every fiber of my fucking being. I hated you before for your annoying, fucking, brain-rotting content and shitty attitude. But even I didn't think you'd stoop this fucking low. Fuck you. I wish Chris killed you like he fucking planned to, you worthless piece of shit. I hope the guilt eats you alive. Rest in peace, Chris Wayne. February 14th, 1999 to August 15th, 2016. You were a great YouTuber. I'm sorry you felt the way you did before your death. And I'm so sorry for how everyone in your life failed you.